My reading and writing story began in kindergarten. I knew pretty much how to write my name, but everything else, especially the numbers, were a problem for me. By the end of kindergarten, I knew how to write all of the letters and all the numbers, and I began to write words as well, like cat and happy. I began to write more complicated words as well, and those words quickly became stories. I love to write stories. I would mostly write them about my cats or gymnastics, because those were the two things in my life that really meant a lot to me. I don't remember much about learning how to read, but I do remember that my favorite book when I was really little was Guess How Much I Love You. I remember my mom used to read it to me, and then when I got older, I would read it to her too. I did think I was a weird kid at times because I always liked reading and writing when none of my friends did. But when you write and read about things that you like, it becomes something you really enjoy. I think I also enjoyed it more once I realized I was good at it. I ended up exceeding the reading expectations in Illinois, and I even won an award in seventh grade for my language arts skills. It made me want to become a writer, and so I started writing stories. It was at this time that my mom told me that all really great authors were also very avid readers, and so that's when I started reading more and more often. I remember I loved reading the Click series, but that got old eventually, and I started reading more adult books like Where the Red Fern Grows. Today it is still one of my favorite books. Soon I realized that I didn't want to be an author anymore, but I still did like writing. So when I was a sophomore in high school, I joined my high school newspaper called The Ink Spot. I worked on it my sophomore year, and then my junior and senior years, I became an editor, which was really cool. Over my time working for the Ink Spot, I was able to write a lot of different articles, from editorials to news articles about the sports teams or the color guard. Now that I'm in college, I think that technology has affected my reading in more ways than one. I recently got an iPad and I downloaded the iBooks app, and now instead of buying paperback books from the bookstore, I can just download them into my iPad and bring them wherever I go. One of the most recent books I downloaded onto my iPad was the Hunger Games series, and I really enjoyed that. I think that as I get older, my reading and writing skills will continue to develop, and as will my literacy narrative. But for now, all I know is one thing, and that's how much I love reading and writing. Technology has also become a huge part of my life. I remember my first Game Boy, the Game Boy SP. I loved that thing, and one day I lost it, and my parents were so mad at me. But then I got the Nintendo DS, and that was so much better than the SP. For the longest time, my parents thought I was too immature to have a cell phone, but on my 14th birthday, I got my first one, and it was this pink one from Sprint that did not even have a camera. Then, on my 16th birthday, I was given this phone, the Rumor from Sprint, and I also got unlimited texting, and that was the best thing ever. I then upgraded to get my LG Lotus, that was also from Sprint. This past year, I bought my first smartphone. It's called the Epic, and I still use it today. And looking back, I don't know how I ever survived without one. When I graduated from high school, one of my graduation presents was my 15-inch MacBook Pro, and I think this has taught me more about technology than anything else that I've ever had. One of the programs I use most often on my MacBook is iMovie, which I use to make movies similar to this one for classes, or movies about me and my friends, which are mostly just collaborations of pictures. As I mentioned before, my most recent gadget is my iPad, which I'm still trying to figure out all of the bells and whistles with it. As technology continues to develop in the near future, so will my technology literacy.